All right, good evening, everyone. We are back again. This is the third session of uh, the N8N training. I believe you guys enjoyed uh, the first and second sessions, and I also hope that our understanding about the concept we've considered so far in N8N, you have mastered it, or at least to some point you've understood the this concept because we'll be building on from here. Last week, we began a workflow. I believe you have also watched the video so that you can practice. At least you have the knowledge to the point where we left off in the last class. So we'll be continuing from where we stopped without wasting too much of our time. And I will be sharing my screen right away. Share my screen. Share my screen. Hope you guys can see my screen. All right. So I'll just go to the N8N workspace, N8N cloud workspace. The steps has not changed, still remains the same. You go to the N8N cloud, you sign in with your login details, and it should take you straight away to your workspace. And please, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you do that. And if you have any question, please engage the platform, the chat group. Just drop your question and your question will be attended to accordingly. And also do well to practice everything we've talked about and everything we'll be talking about. Do well to practice. All right. So once you successfully logged in to the N8N workspace, it should bring you to this environment, and you obviously you see the last work you did. My first visit, that's what we'll name it. So I'll click on it, and this is where we left off. So for the sake of remembrance, I will delete everything we have here. So I will just start again. So if you don't get it the first time, you should get it this time. So I said the first thing we need to do is to add a step. Just trying to check why this thing covering up. Supposed to. All right. So we had a step. Now, but before we start adding a step, I told you that you must understand the workflow you are trying to build. What happens? What should start the workflow? What steps will commence after the trigger? And after the first step, what other steps should follow? So you must understand how the workflow will go before you know how to build. And the best way to do this is to first of all write out the steps that are involved in the workflow. This will help you to build uh, your workflow. This will help you to build the workflow. I don't know if I can do something here. Okay, let me just use here to demonstrate something. Now, like the example we're working with, we're trying to just build a simple workflow that allows people to vote if they are of the voting age. And I remember we picked the age of 18. So we said if they are up to 18, then they are eligible to vote. Otherwise, they are not eligible to vote. So the way this workflow works is we will allow them to fill a form. And when they fill that form, we want to save that form somewhere. And when we save the form, we will determine from the details that was provided, we want to know if their age meets up with the criteria. That is, if they are up to 18 years, then we will send them maybe like a mail that, okay, you are up to 18 and you are eligible to vote. Otherwise, we'll send them another message telling them, oh, sorry, you have to wait for next time. So, having understand this, what would actually kickstart our workflow is a trigger. And what would be our trigger? Remember in the first class, we talked about that, and we also implement that last week, if you remember very well. So, our workflow here will be triggered by a form. So, when they submit that form, something should happen. Our workflow should start. So, our trigger here is uh, on form submission. So we can just try to, let me see if I can make a diagram here. So let's say our first workflow here on form, let's say when they submit form, let's call this on form submission. Okay. So when they submit this form, we want to save it somewhere. And we are using our Google Sheet. Let's say append append a row. Okay, we append a row. So having done that, now the user details have been accepted, has been entered here and stored here. So we need a workflow, a step I meant to say, that will check if the details as regard to the age that the user submitted meet a particular criteria. Does the age submitted by the user up to or below 18? So we need a step to check that here. Uh, let's say we'll be using, let's use a switch. Let's say switch. We'll be using a switch there. And uh, okay, so what a switch does is to return two outputs. This our switch will be returning two outputs. One will be meeting the criteria and the other will not be meeting the criteria. So it will either be returning true or false. So whichever one it returns, we want to send a message as regard the output. So one of the output could be, let's say this one will be let's say maybe greater than or equal to 18. That is, if the condition is satisfied, you should go this route. Otherwise, if the condition is not satisfied, you should come this route. So let's say this one is less than or equal to 18. So let's say these both are Gmail. This is also Gmail. So want to send them a message telling them that, okay, you are eligible to vote. Here you can vote, or here you cannot vote. So if the age submitted by the user from this point is 18 and above, then our workflow will go this route. We go like this. That is the direction. But if the age of the user is less than or equal to 18, so when the workflow commences from the beginning here and gets to this point, and the switch discover that the age is less than 18, I need to change this. This one is less than 18. So let's remove this. Okay, to avoid confusion. Let me see if I can hear it. All right. So it will go this route. Okay. Uh, so all right. Sorry for that. I'll repeat my thing. So it will go this route. So this is how our workflow is going, and this is what we want to try to build. So I will be, let me highlight the whole of this. Uh, so this is our workflow. It's what we want to achieve within the few minutes. So we will not be doing too much so that we can understand the concept here. So in a nutshell, we talked about functions. So from this workflow, we'll be working with some of the functions that we have discussed, and I want you to get the use and application of those functions. This is the essence of building this workflow so that we can understand, number one, how to build a workflow. Number two, how to utilize steps. Number three, and how to work with function or how certain functions work. So that's the essence of this workflow. So I'm going to delete everything right away. Wipe all this. Okay. All right. So from the diagram we had, the first thing there is our trigger. And we've already discussed about trigger. Mind you, I said, if you have question, please engage the group and your question will be attended to. Our trigger will be on form submission. So when the user submits a form, you should do something. And if you check our sheet where we accept the first user, we discover we already have a record. So I will just wipe that out. I'll go back to my workflow. All right. So We are on form submission. I didn't talk about this URL. Don't worry, I will talk about it. We have the test URL and the production URL. Test URL just does for testing, is for testing. Production URL is when you want to make it public, and I'm not sure time will permit us. Maybe in the intermediate session, we'll work properly on that. Okay, so first thing first, this is my form. What I need to do, this is the title. Let's give it a title. Okay, let's first name our node. Let's call it uh, data collection. Let's just call it data collection or voters data. Voters, voters, voters data. That's the name of the step. And let's give it font. Let's call it user data collection. If you have a description, you can, but for the sake of time, we won't be bothering ourselves with that. So under this category where you have form element, this is where we'll be creating the field for the details we want to collect from the user. Okay, so we've done this one before. So we need the first name. We need the first name, the input type. We talked about variable the last time. We need text, just text. And we also want to add an attribute. We want it required. Require means the user must fill something. It must not be empty. The user must fill in something. And we add another form element. We need the last name. Last name. Come on. Okay, I need to be required. Also, what is it? We have email, age, and status. So we need the email. Okay, for this email, we use another type of email. Why are we using email? This helps us to validate the email the user is entering. If the user is entering something that is not of an email format, it's going to reject it. So to ensure that the user is entering a correct format, that's why we are using that email. And we also want to require it, ensure that the user fills something. Okay, we'll be entering another one. It should be age, right? Age. Now, since age is a number type, it's not like a text, so we'll be picking number to ensure that it's a number. You can't have an age of text. Age is always a number. We also want to add an attribute set to require. And let's add the last one, status. Status, we just leave it at text. Okay, this will tell us whether or not the user is eligible to vote. Okay, so this is what we'll be doing on this node. And if you want to try it out, you can execute that step. Let's execute it real quick. I don't know. So let me change this email to and let's say this person is 17 years old. Okay, I think I missed something. Let's remove because I won't stop listening. So let me remove this part here. Here's it, the status part. So I just delete that status. Now let me execute. All right. So let's have this name and change this email. Let's say this person is 17 years old. And if I submit, now in our output section here, you discover we just receive a data, a JSON object. I hope you are not afraid by these terminologies. We've already discussed about JSON object. If you have not watched that session, please kindly go and watch it for proper understanding. So this is a particular data. So let me just let me pin it here so that I don't have to be entering. Okay, I just pinned it so that I will not have to be entering another data. All right. So the next thing is we want to save the data we received from the user. The way we want to do that is we want to save it on Google Sheet. We are keeping this session as simple as possible. So we need a sheet, a Google Sheet. It's a Google Sheet. And what we want to do here is we want to append row. We want to append row. We want to append row. Okay. So ensure that your email is connected here. Mine is connected. And what we want to do here, we want to pick the sheet within the document, and the function, the operation we want to perform is that we want to append a row. All right. And the document we're trying to access that is connected to this email is called voters eligibility. Of course, if you see, that's what we call it here, voters eligibility. So it has already detected that document. And you will see from here, maybe I should change this name here so that let's rename this. Let's call it user data. Let's call it user data. Yeah. So if I check the sheet, I should see user data around. That's user data. Now, what I want to do is the mapping column is I want to match each column manually. So there are two ways you can do it here. The first way is to drag and drop. But for you to learn this very quick or to get more engaged, is you can start learning how to write the code. How do we do that? We just put two curly braces, just like that. Now, I told you about the JSON function, that the JSON option helps you to access data from the previous node. That's what the JSON function does. So we'll call the JSON function. Anytime you call JSON function, you are just saying, I want to use data from the previous node or from the previous step. I know the previous steps to this Google Sheet step is the unsubmit form. So you're telling JSON to take data from the previous node. And this is how we do it. So I call last name, because it's a compound name. That's why I'm putting them in quotes. Name, like that. So, but this is not where you put it. I'll cut this. I'll go to expression. That's where I will put it now. Okay, so I just put that aside to just explain that. So let me just drag and drop real quick because I have no time. I map this. I also want to map the age. Now, for this step, I want to write an expression to check if the user's age meets our requirement. So what do we do? The same way, put our curly brace, and then we'll call the if, we'll call out the if function. And what the if function does, we said the if function is a logical function. It helps you to write logic in your workflow. It helps you to input logic into your workflow. So we want to say if. Now we don't want to test it manually. We want it to be dynamic in that various users will be having different age, obviously. So, and this is why we don't want to hard code it. We want it to be dynamic. Otherwise, I might just write the 17 years here. But mind you, not all the user that will be filling our form will be of 17 years. And so this is why we'll be bringing in the variable instead. So whatever the user enters goes into our condition and it will be evaluated. So if the user's age is, let's say, greater than or equal to 18, like that. So we'll say, let's just say eligible. So I'll say comma. The comma there means the value, what should be the value if this condition is false. So we'll just say not eligible. So I will explain. I talked about the if function and the JSON function. So when you put a function in another function, it's actually called a nested function. All right. So what we did here in our status, we are trying to check. Remember, from the form, the user is not filling their status. Now, the status is being determined by the anything. In our workflow, somewhere in between, the status, the value for the status will be determined. And this is how we are determining the status. So we are writing a condition to check if this age is greater or equal to 18. So if this value evaluates to be true, our status will change to eligible. Otherwise, it will be not eligible. So that's the whole thing we are doing there. What else again? I think we are done with this place. So we can just close this step. Now, if you want to test it, you can actually test, just execute this test. All right. You see the data we received from the form submission, the age there is 17. And if you check our output here, it's saying not eligible because the age is 17. All right, so that's all about that. So the next time is running quickly. Please, if at any point this class goes off, all you just need to do is to rejoin the link again. At the time I set on this class is just 40 minutes, and I see that we are not done with our workflow and it's almost time. So if at any point, if I'm unable to end this class before the class stops, please just rejoin the link again. That's all you need to do. All right. So the next thing we'll do is I won't be able to be checking if the age, remember we are building a workflow. So I want my workflow to always determine their status. So we need a step that will help us check if they meet up with the age or not. And what we'll be using is we'll be using another node Okay, I can see Favor. I see one Favor is having a question. Please just unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, I have a
Sir,
question.
sorry. I have
All
a
right.
concerning that. It's about that if function. Like, how did you come along with it? Because I was trying, I was trying to type it. I was not getting it.
You mean the if function?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Let me go back there. From the on the second step, right?
Yes. On the status aspect, you know that in the status we did not feel any. We are the one that wrote something there. The if
Yes.
function. If this one is,
Yes.
how did you come up with that if function?
Now, if function is common in our world, in the normal market world, business world, day-to-day world, not just in programming. Just like you you have two options. Maybe you went to the market and you are having certain amount with you, and then you said, I wanted to get this, but if I don't get this, I will go for this. If I don't see white, then I will go for black. So if is common in the human daily life, and the same way it is in our normal business day-to-day world, the same thing applies here. So remember in our form, when we first of all build, let me go back to the beginning. This is where we started. This is where we created the input that the user will be entering. And you see, we collected the first name, we collected the last name, asked for their email also, and their age. But there is no status. They will not be the one to enter the status. Now, the status will be determined by our workflow. And if you see from our record here, we have the status here. So, but how are we going to determine this status? This is where the heap function is helpful.
Yes,
And
sir.
so if I go to my second step here now, I'm now saying this is how where we did the mapping. So this is the status. I wrote an expression that anything we use to determine what the status is. And my answer will be either of two, eligible or not eligible. So whenever you have a logic of two outputs in which one will be evaluated to either be true or false. So this is where the heap function will help you. So I'm now saying if I'm telling anything that if the age, remember we've already talked about this one. Anytime you see $JSON, you are telling NHN to use the value that is coming from the previous node. Okay, so I'm saying if this age, this one will
Sorry,
pick a
sir.
dynamic.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, sir. Short. What
yeah,
I'm
go
trying
ahead.
to say is that I get this if like you said you are writing an expression. You
Yes,
understand?
yeah.
So can you please erase it and retype? Like,
I should retype it.
yes, let me see the way. Is it that's all those brackets? How is it coming up?
Yes. Okay, I think I get you now. The bracket is, you
uh
don't know how it's coming up, right?
Yes,
All
because
right.
in the age email we dragged it, but the remaining that those brackets, how is it coming up from?
Yeah, I actually told you how to type them. I actually typed
Eh,
the first one. Were you there when I typed this one?
Yes, I did not get. I just wanted to wait till
Okay,
that status because previous
okay,
class that same the status is the issue. Yeah, sorry.
okay. So whenever you want to write an expression in NHN, Hmm? The
Okay.
first thing you must do is to
Okay.
impute a two nested curly brace. That's the first thing.
Impute a
Like
what?
this.
Sorry.
Hmm? You say what?
Impute what? Sorry, sir.
Two nested, or let me just say, write two curly braces, open and close curly braces, two of them nested into each other like this.
Okay. Okay.
So whenever, read my words, whenever you want to
Okay.
write an expression in anything, the first thing you do
o-
is to input two nested curly braces.
Okay.
So when anything sees these two curly braces, it now knows that you're about
Mm,
to write either a logic or an expression
okay.
right now. So having done that, you now need to impute either your logic or your expression or your function, whatever thing you want to write, then you now start writing it. Are we good?
Yes, yes.
So for me
Thank
now,
you.
please, if at any point, I think in the next 1 minute, this class should be ended. We need to finish this workflow. So all you need to do is just to rejoin the link again. Do you get that?
Okay.
All right. I think I answered your question.
Yes. Well, good, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's just use the opportunity to rewrite this and re-explain the concept.
Okay.
Right. So I wanted to say if this is how we write it, dollar, if, and then open and close bracket. If the age, I want to use the age. The age I'm using is coming from the previous node. So all we need to do is call our JSON. I will say dollar $JSON. Sorry for that uh, breakup. Let me just reshare my screen quick. Here we. All right. So I'll just say if dollar JSON dot age is greater than or equal to 18. That is my condition. I'll say eligible, eligible, comma. That comma means what should happen, whatever I write behind the comma, whatever I write behind the comma, we evaluate if this condition here yields false. So I'll say not eligible. So for the sake of proper understanding, if this condition, this is my condition here, if this condition is true, do this. Otherwise, do this. Okay, as simple as that. So let me test this. All right, node executed successfully, and the result here is saying not eligible because the age here is 17. Okay, that's that about that. So I was saying we'll need another step to help us evaluate whether they are eligible or not. And one of the node we can use here is called a switch. It's called a switch. Now, this is the switch uh, configuration box. It's the same thing. This is the input it's receiving. This is the configuration, and this is the output. So you will see the mode here. We set the rules, and the first rule we want to set is if this age is uh, is a number. Let's say if it's greater than, let's go with greater than or equal to. If it's greater than or equal to 18 there, and then we want to add another routing rule. And the value is if this age is less than less than 18. So our first routing rule here is when the age is greater than or equal to 18. So it will go this route if this condition is true. And if the condition for this one evaluates, it will go this route. And that's all we need to do on this part. So you see our switch is giving out two outputs depending on which route evaluates true or false. So you see we have output 1 here and 0 here. And this 0, let's check very well. Let me open. Okay, the 0 is when the age is greater than or equal to 18. So if the user's age is 18 and above, it will go this route. If it's not, it will come this route. All right. So let's now state what will happen. Let's say we want to send a message to them on their email, telling them about their status. So for those that are of 18 and above, let's add a mail. Let's say maybe Gmail, for instance. Let's say we want to, these are various things you can do using the mail, but let's just do a simple send a message. Let's say we want to send a message. Okay, it's asking us to log in our mail. It's as simple, just log in with the same mail. Let's do that. All you need to do is just select all, continue. All right, connection successful. So we want to send a message and the operation is send. The operation you want to perform is to send a message. So who are we sending message to? Now, this switch has two nodes before it, and that's what you are seeing at the input pane here. We have the Google Sheet and the voters, or the form rather. So we want to send an email to the user email that the user submitted. I will get that from here, from the voters data, not from the Google Sheet. I want to get it from what the user entered. So I'll just drag this. I'm writing the email here to the subject of the email. Let's say, let's call it voters. Let's call it voter status. Voter status. And the type, let's just send a simple text. You're sending a simple text. And the message we want to send to them. Now let's write an expression. Now I'm using an expression because I want some value in between to be dynamic. Okay, so first of all, let's say let's greet the user. Let's say maybe hello, uh, hello, then user. Let's say we want to call the user name, maybe first name. You can use JSON or you can simply drag and drop. So we say hello, so and so. So this expression now will call the first name. Okay, so just put comma here, maybe enter. Now this one is for those that are 18 and above. We say, let's just say kindly proceed to your polling center and cast your vote. Just say maybe vote wisely. Let's say that's the message you want to send to them. Am I missing anything? Okay, no. Let me just copy this message so that I won't have to retype it. So I'm done with this part. So let's do the same thing. Okay, maybe we should rename this. Let's rename this. Let's change the name here to eligible, like that. So we now have the name here. So let's do the same thing. Gmail. We just want to do a send message. Just the same thing actually. So I want to send to the email. Let's still call it voters. What did I call that? Voter status. Is that what I called it? I think so. Voter status. Simple text. And I'll just paste what I copied there and just change the grammar. Maybe we'll just say, sorry, you are not not up, up to or not. Okay, let's say not eligible. Let's say wait until you turn 18 plus. Okay, maybe let's just add stay out of trouble. So let's warn them so that this one will not become hoodlums. Okay, so that's that about that. So this is our workflow. When the user enters, fill their form, they enter their data from here. This will trigger this workflow, and the record will be stored here. And this switch will evaluate their age. If the age is true, if they are 18 plus, it will go this route. If they are not, to come this route. So let's test our workflow Uh, stage, stage workflow. So I'll just click execute workflow. So you see, this one just executed and it went like this. You see the green arrow here? It went like this. So it didn't go like this. That means this person is not eligible. I think I sent it to a particular, let me see. So, was it this email I sent to? Let's see if we received the message. All right. This is the message. I got the message. This is voter status. And if he said, hello, so and so, sorry, not eligible. Wait until you turn 18 plus, stay out of trouble. So we got the message. We got the message on our email. And if you check on our Google Sheet, we also have the data entered on our sheet here. It's appearing many times because I have run the, the workflow quite a number of times. So let's just start to, let me remove it. Let me unpin that so we can enter for another person. And can somebody type your email for me on the chat? Let's work with your email. Let's see if you receive it. Let me see if I can get email on the chat. Anyways, you can try that on your own. Let me see. Do I have any message on the chat? Okay, I found an email. Let me just copy that. Let me copy that and let me unpin this one like so. So let me execute this workflow. Let me fill this name. I don't know. Let me say James Isaac, and let me just put in that email there. And let me say this person is 20 years, and let's submit. Now you see our workflow is executing
Oh,
and
I
it
can't see anything.
went.
No.
You said?
I can't see anything when you are inputting those names. I can't see anything when you are inputting those names.
Okay, you can't see it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, can we? Okay, let me do like this. Let me copy this URL here. Just open a new tab. I've actually sent you a message though. You can check your email.
All right, I will check now. All right.
Okay, saying not listening here. So all I need to do now, the reason why it's showing, okay, maybe I should go back. All I did was I copied this test URL so that I can test locally and I paste it on a new tab. But when I paste it, it's saying trigger isn't listening yet. And the reason for this was because I've not published. All I need to do is just to hit the publish button and it's going to save the version of this workflow. One thing with any, it keeps track of the various versions. Should in case you are in a particular version where you encountered an error, you can go back to the previous version. Okay, so all I need to do, you can write a description if you want to. So I'll just publish and it say workflow publish. I'll say okay. And if I go back here and just refresh, okay, okay, started now. Okay. I think I have the data. Okay. It's still seeing this data. Can you still see my screen? Please confirm if you have seen the message.
Yes, I've seen the message. I'm still seeing your screen.
Okay. So now, you see, the moment I published, I'm now able to fill. So this is where I filled it. Maybe let me use another name. Isaac, let's say Newton. I will send the same email. Let me copy that email. So this time, let me make the age below, maybe like 15 years. So it's saying form submitted. So please check your email if you see the second message. All right, this is where we'll call it a wrap. We successfully built our first functional workflow. I hope you enjoyed the class. Please try to revisit the recording, try to rewatch it, and try to practice. Do a similar example if you want to play around. Uh, but remember the first step, you have to write down the workflow you are trying to build. If you understand it, write it down, and then you can build it. And until in our next class, keep practicing. If you have any question, please engage the platform and also ensure to share the Facebook page and subscribe to the channel. And we'll meet on Friday.